I'm David Farah.
And I'm Kenny Todd. And you're watching Liars, Libations, and Locations only on
the Charleston Times Television Network. Ken.
Yes, David.
Good to see you.
Good to see
Boy,
you.
I tell you what, those of you who don't know, we're doing this on Wednesday morning, the, what, 12th?
The
It's
12th.
Today the 12th?
February 12th.
And this is the second freeze we've had, and Kenny has sacrificed almost everything to come over here and do this show for you, so I want you to appreciate it, and I want you to respond, right, Ken?
We need response.
We're not getting the response we should, and the response that we do get, I don't think they want me to put it on television. Tell you the truth.
Well, give us some good stuff so we can put on TV for y'all.
Okay, please do. Now, last week we were talking about gay bars and so forth. We did get a little response on that, but this week I want to concentrate on one single block, and that would be St. Philip Street from George to Wentworth. Because think about what you had there. You had, well, Laurie's Pool Hall first, which had not only the best hot dogs in the city,
Very good.
but because they had slaw. You had really good slaw. And they'd sell you beer at 15. But across the way was the Three Nags, which I guess was the first real hippie bar, wasn't it? Who was it? Charlie Harley, and who owned the Three Nags? Was it Charlie Harley?
It was Charlie Harley. To my knowledge, I think Charlie Moore might have been involved
I
with
want to
that.
say Ken Mays. I don't know. We don't know
We don't know
this.
this for sure.
But what a cool place. Lime loggers for 35 cents a pop.
That's right.
For those of you who don't know what a lime lager is, you want to explain it?
It's a draft beer with the lime juice, Rose's lime juice in it.
Which still, if I drank today,
That would be
is
the
still
drink
one of my,
choice.
oh man, I love that stuff. Which is why
Can't get it for 35 cents anymore though, David.
you can't get, you remember when you used to be able to buy cigarettes at the stove? Single cigarettes?
Yeah.
Be like a dime. Well, you can't get a cigarette for 35 cents anymore. You can't get a candy bar for 35 cents. But yeah, they would serve draft beer, and the music was incredible. Like the band, they played the band, the Weight, all those.
They had a great sound system and wall of LPs, the old wax LPs, and it was. What matter of fact, on that same block, mentioning that right above, when you mentioned Laurie's, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention above Laurie's was the M&M bowling alley.
Is that right? I didn't know
They had a
that.
bowling alley up there, and then right beside, across the street, right beside the Three Nags, they had Craft Furrier, which was a lady that made fur
Yes.
collars and different things with furs, and I can just always remember.
They're not as popular these
Oh
days.
man, Peter would eat you up if you had a shop like that. But there was always some kind of animal staring at you out Miss Kraft's window.
Like a fox or
yeah, some kind of like
a beaver?
whatever the animal
That's a
was.
beaver
that she
staring
did,
at you?
It usually had the animal head involved with it, and it would be staring out at you. And I always found that humorous while we were sitting outside talking with
Maybe a little
Roy
creepy.
and
God, wasn't
Paul
Roy
Hogan
great?
and
Yeah, Paul Hogan,
Joni Lucas and Sally Wild, all the gang.
Josephine Cannon, who I want to say to this very day is still one of the coolest chicks I've ever seen.
Most definitely.
Yeah, well, Joni is, I mean, they're all cool. Sally Wild. Those were the bad girls. You know, they really were. I mean, they were 2 years older than I.
Oh,
So,
well then they were
you
older
see what I
women.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were women.
Yeah.
And one of them never forgot to let me know. But that's another whole story. But God, who else in the Three Nags? Just right there. It was just a different world because you had Big John's over here, and by now we're talking what, late 60s, right? 69, maybe 60. Yeah, 69.
Yeah, probably been about 68, 68-ish. And I think 69 I was already a senior in high school, and I'd been going for a while.
Right. Well, you know, Craig Dorm, I went to the College of Charleston, and Craig Dorm, which I think is about the only dorm left at the College of Charleston, is still there. That was right across the street. So it was great, man. You get out of class, go have a few beers, and go across the street and take a nap. Life was good.
It was good. Now they tore it down and put up a parking lot.
Well, yeah. Just like everything else. Yeah. I mean, I know don't even get me started on Cane Hoy Plantation.
Yeah, we won't go there.
We won't even go there.
Round the corner, heading on St. Philip from George Street, one block down, there was a basement bar, and I want to say I think Richard Stoney had that.
Richard Stoney, who was it? It was Richard Stoney, his brother Tad Stoney, and a boy Laurie Reed from Christ School, North Carolina. And really during its time, the the Hogpenny had to be one of the coolest bars ever made. And I guess Richard went on after being a lawyer and carried on that whole hospitality thing. He's still doing on the few restaurants.
And above that was
the Piccadilly.
Piccadilly.
What I find interesting though is that all three of these bars, when they all coexisted, did they all coexist? I mean, was the Piccadilly? It seems to me the Piccadilly was after the Three Nags. The Three Nags had closed, and then the Williams brothers opened the Piccadilly. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
And Todd was the manager of the Hogpenny.
You know who else was? Richard Probst. You remember him? Or Bob Probst? Remember Bob Probst?
Not by name.
No, a dark-haired fella. Great guy.
Okay.
And Bubba Taylor.
Okay.
Who is still around. And Bubba Taylor, I think, owns Fat Cat Productions. I think he does. He's still a promoter. Wasn't he the promoter of Fremantle Standstill?
I'm not sure.
I think he was. Now, you see, that's the kind of stuff you can help us for. I mean, help us with. Right. Got a little preposition problem. Yeah. But the thing is, what I find amazing is that even though there was a lot of cross between these bars, it wasn't total.
No.
I mean, you could walk in say, the Three Nags, hang out there for happy hour, and go down to the Hogpenny, and you wouldn't see any of the same people.
And conversely, or in that same vein, you could go from downstairs, upstairs,
to the Piccadilly, right? Well, the Piccadilly was kind of an intellectual bar. I would say the Hogpenny was more of a college, and back then college meant hippie bar. And then
Piccadilly was a sandwich. You could get beer, wine, but they had really good sandwiches. David did a great job in back there making sandwiches and
well, Bill too.
With sprouts.
Which I think is so funny. Have you seen them lately?
It's been a while.
They look so normal. Yeah. And of course back then they looked like the Furry Freak Brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With
a lot of people did, yeah.
But now they're so normal. They really are. I think Bill sells insurance in Somerville or something.
Does real estate.
Whoever saw that coming, huh?
I think his family was kind of oriented that way.
Yeah.
Up in Somerville.
Well, they're great guys. Yeah. But the thing about it was, we used to have, when I was in college, and you weren't here, I'll tell you a little story here. When I was in college, my senior year, we had this round table up there, and we would meet at Wednesday happy hour.
Piccadilly.
Piccadilly. And right in that,
main room.
Right, that main room where the big round table was.
I remember.
And who was it? Tersh Lynch, Eddie Johnson, David Swanson. Who else was? I think Francis Dennis. Anyway, we would sit there and Jimmy Howe, and we would sit around this table and have the most wonderful
Isn't
time.
it?
Well,
Yeah.
well, what about you? Tell me your experiences down there. I mean,
Well, that
the
was
funnest. I mean, the funnest thing
Yeah.
you ever did, say.
Well, I mean, in that context of what we're talking about, I always enjoyed going up, eating the sprout sandwiches, the veggie.
First time you
sub-
ever saw sprouts too
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Charleston,
I mean, it was one
anyway.
of them. They had sprouts and krauts and all. But David did a
Sprouts
really
and
good
krauts,
job
that's right.
with his sandwiches, and I loved eating the veggie subs that David made. And in the afternoons, early evenings, Jeremiah Glover
Oh,
and
Jerry
Thorne
was
Carey,
God.
they would get together and jam, and Thorne would play the penny whistle and.
Didn't he also play the mandolin? Am I wrong on that?
I don't remember. I remember that
It
he
seems
played.
to me he played something. Banjo,
Yeah.
mandolin. In other words, it wasn't just the guitar.
Yeah, well, the penny flute, and then he went to. What they did back in those days, I thought was really cool. Everybody collected money. He wanted to go to Ireland to learn
The penny,
penny
whistle?
whistle from
Penny
the Irish-
whistlers.
Yeah, from the penny whistlers, Irish, and he was the money collected in the Piccadilly around that round table, and through donations from friends, he was able to go and study that and learn firsthand over there. So one of my favorite parts about that area was just the camaraderie and the faces that we'd known for so long, and just kind of hanging out.
Where everybody knows your name.
Everybody knows your name.
And it really was a where everybody knows your name. Well, that's the thing about all of these bars that we've been talking about, be it Big John's. You know. By the way, did you see that Big John's is back open?
I did not see that yet.
I believe Ryan Condon has reopened it. If y'all get a chance, go, because what they've done is they've got the old menu.
Wow.
Because to me, everybody thinks about Big John's and the, remember the glasses?
Yep.
God, I had one until really I moved from Georgetown. I broke it. I could weep. I still have the shirt though. But you know what they had? What else they had? They had the best roast beef sandwiches for 75 cents in the world. They were this thick.
Wow. I never ate there.
Really? I remember, I can't remember why I ate there, but I did. So I guess what we'll do this week, Ken, is we'll leave it at Big John's. Even though we've been talking about hippies all this time.
We might have to go and do a.
Well, we
on
might have to do a
location.
live.
Yeah, might
Remote.
have to do something on location.
And we will tell you when we're going. We'll have you meet us there. Right now, it's there's ice on the road outside, so we have no idea what's going on. But next week, we'll figure it out. And by next week, we'll let you know when we'll do this. And we want you to join us. And Susanna, why don't you fly in from Atlanta?
That would be great.
Wouldn't it? You know, she is my cousin, and we have never met.
Wow. Well, you're really missing something because she is gorgeous and just so
I know,
gracious.
no. Well, and her voice, where Jerry was so talented, and actually, you know, who gets short shrift in all of this is John Glover. John Glover is one of the most talented boys. I think
Wow.
he's been in People magazine.
Wow.
He's well, as if you're an artist, let me tell you, your career is never over, ever. Okay, you never give up, and that's one thing I've got to give John. He's still plugging away, playing. I think he lives in Augusta, but come on down to Big John's, and we'll set it up. We'll go talk to him.
Okay.
All right,
Sounds
and
good.
that's what we'll do. We'll actually have a show filmed down there with you in it. There you go.
Your
Let
chance
that
to
there.
be on
Where's my
TV?
secretary? Where's my damn secretary? Anyway, I'm David Farrow.
And I'm Kenny Todd.
And what are we watching?
Liars, libations, and locations.
And let's see where we're watching it here, Ken. Let's give it a shot.
We're watching the Charleston Times Television Network.
You have no idea how cool that was. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.